Hello captains, welcome back. My name is Adam and today we are taking a flight. Now I've got a bit of an update in this video. We're going to do top 20 tips here for flight simulation. So whether you're running Prepared or FSX or even X-Plane, these top tips that we're going to go through during this video will help you to have the most balanced experience and the most best experience for flight simulation. So we're going to go through that in a minute. For P3D users, more importantly for those who have upgraded to 4.5, you may have experienced some issues. You may have experienced some green lines with the trees. You may have experienced some issues with your scenery. And I just want to say that if you, like before, the way I had to fix it, which was I take my AutoGen vegetation density slider right down to the 0 and lower my AutoGen and scenery draw distance to low, and that fixed the issue like you'll see here. But like you saw before, I've actually got them back up to normal. Now, I installed recently Rex Environment Force, and it fixed my issues with 4.5. By when I upgraded to 4.5 and I had these issues, it fixed them. So I don't have to wait for that hotfix from P3D now from Lockheed Martin. All my issues are resolved for the upgrade, which was pretty weird. So it must have had something to do with shaders, or I don't know. But it's cleared my my settings. The Rex environment, I must say, is really I'm loving it. You know, it's got a lot of sort of customization skills that you can add, and you can also do them in sim as well. So, like, we're at KLAS. We're at Las Vegas now. In Las Vegas, at the time of this recording, it's actually nighttime, so there are no clouds in the sky. So looking around, there is actually nothing to see in the sky, which is a bit of a shame, really. But we're sat here on the tarmac now. This is a plane that I'm in the process still of painting. It's about halfway through done, and it's one of my own paint jobs from my favorite airline. Now, I've got to say, being at Las Vegas, we had some problems with the Las Vegas terrain. There was a lot of elevation issues. There was a lot of scenery adjustments as we went through. And I just want to say that if you go to this website, and I'll put the website's link in the description box below, it's actually got some hot fixes if you had some elevation issues. You only need to, especially if you're running FS Global Next Generation, it's got some updated mesh files. It's also got an AFCAD update, so you can run that hotfix and not have an issue. And that's great. That really is great. So we're gonna hop in the plane now, and we're gonna go through. Let me just do a quick engine start here. Doesn't need to be anything major. We'll take off. And let's get this plane in the air real quick. I don't really fly the 182, so I'm not really sure of its abilities here. But hopefully it ain't too bad. Right, so let's get this into the air. Here we go. Whoa, 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 dude. That was a bit of a... Right, we're up in the air. Oh, gosh. As I say, I'm not usually flying this. This is a bit of a fast and powerful plane. Right, so top tips for flight simulation. So as you can see, like, okay, at the moment my frames are like in the 15 frames per second, and that's because I'm recording a video. Before, when I was on the ground, they were in the 30s, and before I started recording, they were in the 50s and 60s. So the reason they're actually quite low at the moment is not only are we flying over Las Vegas from FlyTampa, which is a heavily densely populated area, so the frames would go down anyway, but I'm also recording video, and whenever I record video in full 1080p, I do take about a 5 to 10 frame hit. Usually I stream my flights which is in 720p, and I use a completely different computer for that, which enables my frames to be top dollar. So I'm just going to remove the frame count there because I don't really need to continually see it. But whenever we do a live flight, the frames won't be an issue. We just don't get the full resolution. So what we're going to do is we're just going to fly here. I'm not even really going to fly this plane. I'm just literally going to let it run off into the distance, and then we'll circle around and come back again. So top tips. Now I've split this up into 3 sections, right? 3 different sections, one for hardware, one for software, and one for maintenance. Now each of these sections has about 7 different tips that are the top tips for flight simulation. So if you're on your desktop, or if you've got like a massive cockpit build, these tips aren't probably going to apply to you. This is a more majority people. This is more designed for people who have a cockpit simulation in terms on their desktop, as opposed to a full-blown one. Although some of the tips will also apply to people who have got a full-blown cockpit. So let's have a look around here. We'll see what we can see real quick. Really nice. Las Vegas, I must say, they've done a banging job here. They've done a really good job on this plane. I mean, sorry, on the scenery. It looks amazing, and even at night time, it looks superb, I gotta say. Anyway, right, let's get to it. I hope you can hear me. Top tips now. Looking at your hardware, okay? This is just a quick one, really, okay? This is a real quickie. So the number 1 top tip I would say is put in the best components into your hardware. We're talking about your PC, okay? You can't run a simulator on a laptop these days. The 64-bit simulators, you're not going to run them on a laptop. The old 32-bit sims on current laptops, maybe. But we're talking about desktop simulators. We're talking about P3D, X-Plane, okay, 64-bit simulators. They need to have good PCs to run, okay? Your PC really should be a very high spec. If you put in good components into your PC, chances are you're going to get a good experience back out again, okay? You're not going to have stutters, you're not going to have errors, you know, you're not going to find yourself having issues, right? So let's pull up a bit here. In your sim, if you are running good components. Now, you know, your motherboard, at the end of the day, you want your motherboard to be able to handle, and your power unit, all the components that you're filling inside your machine, okay? If you've got a motherboard or a power unit that isn't able to take care of all the components you've put in, or they're not compatible with it, right, then you've got the wrong you know, motherboard or power unit. You know, in terms of graphics, right, your graphics card, okay, the latest isn't always the greatest. Whoa, hello, what's happened there? The latest isn't always the greatest. I would say, you know, your graphics card, no matter which one you choose, which one you go with, you want a minimum of 10 gigabytes GPU graphics, okay, to be able to handle the fidelity of the sim that you're going to be putting into it. Mine's an 11 gig card. You probably can get ones that are higher. This is recording of 2019. Whoa, what's going on here? Keeps on just lunging. I should put it on autopilot, I guess, but I like to manually fly it for a while. We'll do a turn in a minute. So graphics card, yeah, 10 gig minimum, okay? Now in terms of your actual memory, okay, get a motherboard that can support whatever memory you want to put in there in terms of the volume. Some motherboards only allow certain amounts of memory to be attached into the board. I have 16 gig of memory, and I would say that's your minimum, that's your baseline, that's the very least you want to put in. You don't want to be putting in any more than that, any less than that, sorry. You want to be putting in more than that. I know some people who have 64 gig installed into their systems. At the end of the day, your memory is only going to serve you, meaning that you can run more applications. It's not going to make your graphics look better. It's going to mean that you can run more things smoother, okay? That's all. So 16 gigabyte minimum, okay? In terms of your CPU, now, you know, it's been proven that for some reason Intel CPUs are fare a lot better in flight simulators, especially in prepared, than most other ones do. It's pretty bizarre, but AMD CPUs don't run as well in a flight simulator as opposed to Intel. I would have to say your processor, okay? As long as you're running a processor with a minimum of 4.0 hertz, or gigahertz rather, right, you can run a current flight simulator 64-bit. If you can get up to 5 gigahertz, you're laughing all the way to the bank, mate. But if you've got, you know, budget issues or whatever, 4.0 is your minimum. My personal processor is a 4.2 base, but at the moment it's probably running at 4.5. I mean, we can easily check it out right now. I can just quickly bring up my task manager and I can show you my performance here. My CPU, it's running at 4.5 gigahertz, but the baseline is 4.2. There it is, base speed 4.2, but it's actually running at 4.58 right now. A memory, 16 gig. I create my memory to where it deletes the cache. It cleans it off every 5 minutes, so that doesn't get any higher than 5 gig at any time during my flight. So there's less chance of problems occurring during the flight as well, which is good. And my sim runs really smooth. Now that we've kind of got out of Las Vegas, you can see my frames are up to 30. Okay, now if I wasn't recording a video, my frames would be like 50, 60 frames. Let's do a bit of a turn here, I think. Let's see. What else we got? So we've done the CPU, we've done the memory, we've done the GPU, graphics. Your monitor at the end of the day is also part of your hardware. You know, where possible, try and run a 4K monitor where possible, because you can put your textures at 4K and then you don't have to worry about anti-aliasing or any type of, you know, rendering of the graphics, downscaling them. You can literally run them as they are. You know, I've got a 1080p monitor, so the highest graphic I'm ever going to see is 1080p. So there's no point in putting 4K textures into my sim because I'm not even going to see the detail of them, you know. So like, you know, running 2K textures, well, it's still got to downscale them at the end of the day, down to 1080p. So I actually do put the 4K textures in because that extra fidelity, even though I'm not going to see it, for some reason I just like to think it's there. But I could easily put in 2K textures across the board and I would actually get better performance because I only see 1080p actually in my view. I need to slow down here. Let's slow the engine down. There we go. That's better. Right, what else we got? That's pretty much it. I mean, you know, the number one tip here for your hardware is to run the best components that there are available. And if you're running the top specs for your PC, you know, you're going to have a flawless flight experience. Number two top tip for hardware is make sure all your drivers are up to date, okay? Make sure your PC, all the drivers for every component are current. If you're running out-of-date drivers, that's where you're probably going to come across errors in your sim. And that's probably where you're going to come across some crashes as well. So make sure you're running current drivers. Third top tip, you know, hey, if you're running a CPU, don't overclock your CPU, man, because it just introduces a whole host of problems if you overclock. Now, a lot of people will say, yeah, but, you know, I overclock my CPU. I know I'm shortening the lifespan of the CPU, but there's going to be a new CPU that comes out in the future. When mine dies, I'll just upgrade, and that's fine. Well, that's great, and that's true, but guess what? Your motherboard might not accept it. The other components with your motherboard might not accept it. Then you've got to change your cooling system inside, because if you're overclocking, you're heating your CPU beyond the temperature that it's supposed to run at, which means you need to introduce more cooling into your CPU, into your PC tower. If you don't, it's going to burn out a lot faster than you think. Possibly even, like, hey, it could even catch fire at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're running high temperatures, okay? you need to cool it down if you're overclocking, and if you're not cooling it down, your PC is going to overheat and cause hardware failure. If you are overclocking, you're running the risk of destroying your PC at the end of the day and shortening drastically the setup that you've got going. Okay, don't overclock, it's not worth it. Just buy a higher speed CPU instead of overclocking one. Just get a higher speed one, okay? Not a problem. Fourth top tip, okay, and this is probably more for people who don't have the capability in their PC. If you're using a USB hub, don't, okay? Because you're introducing like more power into your PC than your PCU can use, right? Your PCU, the power unit, okay, at the back, right? At the end of the day, is designed to run the components off the motherboard and what USB you've got attached. If you're adding more USB than your PC can actually handle, right? And I'm not talking about a full cockpit setup. A full cockpit setup will have a USB hub, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about desktop simulators. If you've got USB hubs, that is a device that allows you to add multiple USBs into a single USB slot, you're overpowering your power unit, causing your power unit to fail more often than it shouldn't, right? Don't use USB hubs, okay? The fifth top tip for your hardware is set your refresh rate of your monitor, okay? Set to your graphics card and set to what it says inside your simulator, okay? My graphics card, I don't know if this is going to show up actually on the screen, but I'll try it. I know it won't show up, will it? Oh, darn it. Okay. I mean, pushing the info button doesn't actually do anything. Okay, so basically my refresh rate of my monitor is 60 Hertz. Okay, I've set my graphics card to 60 Hertz. I've instructed my simulator to run at unlimited frames, and I've hit the V-Sync button on my graphics tab, and I'll just quickly show you what I mean. Going to display, V-Sync is on, and that basically means it's going to sync my monitor and the simulator in one. So it's always going to be aiming for 60 frames a second, okay, no higher, right? At the moment it's running a pitiful 15 because we're flying over Las Vegas, and FlyTampa creates really good scenery, but at the end of the day it isn't causing that much of a problem, is it? Everything's still in there, everything still looks good. I mean, I am flying at 8,000 feet in the air, so we can see a lot of terrain around us. It's not massive issues, but locking the refresh rate of your monitor from your monitor to your graphics card to your simulator is going to give you a smooth flight. If you're running NVIDIA Inspector in between, if you've got different values, you're going to find you've got stutters, okay? Sync them all up. That's top tip number 5. Number 6 is use SSD drives where possible, okay? HDD drives, which are hard disk drives, okay? Use a massive platter and it has to spin at a certain speed. SSD drives, okay, are like, I don't know, they're like compressed versions, man. They're a lot speedier and a lot safer, and they access the information quicker than they do on an HDD drive. And an SSD drive stands for solid state drive. They're more reliable and they're faster for accessing the data when you're flight simming. So, have your main Windows PC, have your flight simulator on an SSD drive, and you'll find your performance goes higher and you get more frames per second than when you're running it from a HDD drive, okay? And the final top tip, okay, for hardware is to have your PC as a flight sim only. Don't have it as the family PC or a video editing software PC or picture editing or writing your books or anything else other than flight sim only, okay? You'll find that your PC doesn't have to work as hard, okay? Doesn't have all these other files on your PC lying around. It's accessing things a lot quicker. you know. You'll find that your performance is a lot better when you have a separate PC for flight simulation. If you can't afford to get a solo flight sim PC, well, just save up for it. It ain't a big deal. Seriously, have a PC dedicated to flight sim. Right, that's your 7 top tips for hardware. Next, software. I'm going to do another turn before I say all this, right? We'll do another turn, and we'll also come down to landing a bit as soon as I find a runway. We're just circling around Las Vegas at the moment, so hey, there's a runway over there. Where is Las Vegas itself? Where are we in relation to Las Vegas City? I kind of can't see Las Vegas anymore. Where is it? Oh, there it is, popping into view right now. Right, okay. Software, right? The #1 top tip for software is do not pirate software. Don't use pirated versions of add-ons, of simulators, of anything. Because what happens when you use a pirate version, right? A bootleg version, a version where it's got cracked or it's got encoded differently or it's bypassed the registration software, is at the end of the day you're introducing files onto your PC, or you're allowing things in that shouldn't be there. Okay, you're actually getting your PC to work harder than it needs to. You know, a cracked software, you know, has to be, or any type of software has to be registered. Okay, it needs like an activation code, and these pirated versions, as far as I'm aware, they basically have like a cracker, and that cracker generates a code that you can use, or it generates a link through your S-hosts file, basically allowing the software to run without having to be registered. Okay, your PC's working harder. Some of these, I believe, are also even on a time basis. So after 30 days, it'll reset your PC's settings to believe it's still in the time trial version or something. But you're just running the risk of your PC by saving a few quid or saving a few dollars. Just save up and buy the real, you know, software from the real people who made it, rather than some cracked version. You know, there is a way to share software, yes, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actually using pirated versions, cracked software. It doesn't actually do you any favors, or your PC any favors, or the community any favors, because less people are buying these add-ons, which means the developers have less money to make even better add-ons. So just get them from the legit dudes, and at the end of the day, everything will be fine. You won't have problems, you know. Oh, look at that scenery there, beautiful. #2, up-to-date software. Always make sure each add-on, your base simulator, all your software is up to date. Install the latest hotfixes, install the latest patches, because you'll find that most of your errors lie when you don't have up-to-date software. #3 top tip is only run what you use. Okay, and here's what I mean when I say that. I don't know if I can actually show my scenery library. No, I can't show my scenery library unless I quit this. But basically, I've got like loads of add-ons. Okay, I've got all of Orbex, I've got loads of Mega Scenery, I've got loads of other airports and, you know, regions, but I only run into my simulator what I'm actually going to use. So at the moment, I've only got the 4 Mega Scenery states that surround Las Vegas, and I'm running Las Vegas City from FlyTampa, and I'm running the FS Global Next Generation Mesh Base, and that's it. Obviously, I'm running FTX Global as well, and the Vector, but I'm not running, like, you know, North and South California. I'm not running the UK from Orbex, or Australia, because we're not flying there. You know, only run what you use, and you will increase your load times a lot faster, and you'll increase the performance on your hard drives a lot better as well. #4, make sure you install correctly everything. Okay, I have a lot of my stuff outside of the sim folder, okay, in my P3D add-ons folder. A majority of my stuff is there. Other stuff will be sitting on other hard drives. You know, very little is actually in my sim. Install correctly the add-ons into your simulator, you'll find you have less errors. Okay. Top tip number 5, sorry. Orbex Vector Tool, okay, is a powerful little tool for elevation issues. Okay, if you buy software add-ons or airport add-ons and you run them into your simulator and you find you've got elevation issues and you're using Orbex Vector, right, run the tool, the airport auto config with it. Also disable the airport that you've just installed, right, manually. Save, apply, run your shaders again. I use PTA myself. Apply your shaders again, and you'll find all your elevation problems disappear. Now, in terms of Vegas, they actually didn't disappear, right? We still had a few issues with Vegas, right? And I actually had to go to FlyTampa themselves, who had a hot fix for it, and they actually fixed it, you know, themselves, which was pretty cool, and did a great job. But the Orbex Vector tool is a godsend for me, is a must. You know, now a lot of people will say yes, but Chris Bell's, you know, vector bridges and all that, you know, are a lot better. Well, guess what? I actually run both. I have Orbex on my system and Chris Bell's vector information running at the same time, and they actually go hand in hand with each other really well. I mean, everything is nicely laid out. There's no like where it looks rubbish. It actually all looks pretty good. Okay. Number 6 for software top tips is verified developers. Okay, now this is a very important one. If you go and buy third-party software from your mate down the road, or if you install, you know, homebrew stuff into your simulator, well, guess what? It might not come with the support you need it to come with. You know, you might find that actually, you know, you're running into issues with your sim and things aren't running as smooth. If you buy from verified developers such as Orbex, PMDG, JustFlight, you know, etc., they come with teams who can help you and support you if you run into an error. They can update efficiently, and you know, if there are problems with their own software. If you've got your software from the mate down the road, well, you don't even know where that's come from. If he's homebrewed it, how do you know it's compatible with your setup, with your system? You know, when like say an Orbex developer, you know, when they have new software, they run it on multiple systems before they release it, because they want to make sure that it's going to run smoothly across everyone's systems. They don't just go run it on the top spec computer. Oh, it runs fine. Okay, well then let's release it. No, they run it on a low-end machine as well, and they try and find a great balance between a low-end and a high-end machine. What we got down here? Beautiful. Look at that, gorgeous. Las Vegas, man, gorgeous. What's the next top tip? The final top tip for software is keep your flight sim folder clean. You know, a lot of my add-ons are not in the flight sim folder. You know, I just don't run them there because it slows down your sim. Your frames will take a hit, your performance takes a hit if everything is coming out of your flight sim folder. You know, there are so many ways you can actually run your sim outside, or your add-ons rather, sorry, outside of your sim folder. The XML route is the best, and there is actually software that can help you run that as well. I don't think I have it set up on my system, but there are ways that you can actually run an add-on utility program to help you install or move add-ons effectively within your sim. Now, I highly recommend going on YouTube. Matt Davies has probably done one somewhere along the lines on his YouTube or his Twitch channel, but go check them out. They are really worth you know, looking into by loading all your add-ons separately outside of your sim. You know, don't load everything from in the sim folder. Trust me, it's a lot better. Okay. I mean, look at this. Look at there's an airport down there as well. We could land there, or we could go over there. But I want to check out Las Vegas. I really want to do a low approach to Las Vegas, and we're coming up on the city, so let's really slow down here. Bring the flaps up and really come in. Now it's loading slow. I've got, you know, so much running though on this. It doesn't surprise me, but it still is pretty smooth, so I'm not that bothered. Right, maintenance now. Here we go. Top tips for maintenance, right? Oh gosh, I think I'm stalling here. A bit more power. There we go. Another flaps. Right, number one, keep Windows up to date. I turn off Windows when I'm flying, the up-to-date software, so it's not actually going to run while I'm flying. But I do keep it up to date. If you turn off the updater for Windows, it will reactivate itself unless you stop the service. I have done videos in the past on it. Go check them out. I will link them in the description below. But keep your Windows up to date. You know, you get software fixes, you get all sorts of fixes through updates on Windows, and they protect your PC. It is important that they run. Don't prevent them from running, but don't allow them to run while you're flight simming, because you don't want to be coming in on a final approach and then suddenly you get that blue screen that says, you know what, dude, we need to update your computer, and you're like, no, you know. So stop Windows from, you know, running the update service whilst you're flying. Oh, hello, there we go, come by that, lovely. Number two, streamline your Windows, right? There are so many little fixes and optimization things that you can do for Windows. Oh gosh, here we go, look at this. Oh, dudes, there are so many little things you can optimize. You can turn off certain features, you're not going to use them, you know. I think we need some more power here. You can do loads of little tricks and tips to make sure Windows is actually streamlined, particularly for flight simulation. Chillblast have a wonderful service, right, who will help you streamline and optimize your Windows configuration. You know, they will get you to stop certain services from running. Oh man, we're gonna bite it here. We're gonna flap. Oh, we're going down. We're going down. We would have crashed, guys. We really would have. But I need to get up here. Let's get up in the air. Oh, guys, we would have crashed it then as well. But Vegas looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Look at that. Gorgeous. Alright, let's Caesar's Palace there. Let's get out of here, right? Yeah, they got loads of tricks and tips that you can optimize and streamline Windows, the actual operating system, to make it better running for flight simulation, okay? There are loads of tricks on the web. Go check them out. Number three, Junction Link Manage, okay? So I use Junction Link. Let me show you what that is, right? That is this, where has it gone? This little nifty software right here, okay? Now this basically tricks my simulator in thinking that Orbex is actually installed into my flight sim, when in actual fact it isn't. It's on a completely different hard drive. And the reason this benefits me is because it doesn't have to load in from the same folder, the same drive, the software, right? Now, you might be thinking, yeah, but hang on a sec, it's loading in from another hard drive connected on your PC. Surely that's taking longer. Well, it may be, but I mean, this is we're talking about preloading before you actually start your sim up. What it's doing is it's freeing up my hard drive, because it's not having to run anything within my C drive. You know, it's running from a D drive. And obviously, when you load up software, let me get rid of this window here. When you load up software into your flight sim, you know, before you go flying, it's all being preloaded. Nothing is actually then loading after the fact, unless you're doing a long haul from, say, UK to America, in which case it would do. Now, if I was to do a long haul from UK to America, when I get to my destination, it would start to load in from the other drive, but not from my C drive. My C drive is free to run the simulator, and it's not having to divert its power or resources to suddenly load in extra scenery. It's loading that from a different hard drive altogether, right? Enabling Flight Sim to run more efficiently, okay? It really, really does help. Number 4, defragging the hard drive. Now, I gotta say, right, this little nifty software here, right, Ultimate Defrag, right, I use version 4, it is really good, okay? It was designed by a flight simulator developer, okay, to actually optimize your hard drive, right, which I'll just exit off because I don't want this to crash the sim, right, but to actually optimize your hard drive and defrag it, you know, specifically for flight simulation. So it is the best defragger a flight simmer can actually get. Oh, my flaps are up here. Let's get rid of that. It's the best defragger you'll ever find on the market anywhere. Speed up a bit. Do a bit of clutch. We don't need to climb. Pull that down. We need to go find an airport to land at. We'll be landing soon. Oh, there we go. There's one right behind us. Beautiful. That's where we took off, isn't it? Right, well, we'll go forward a little bit, and then we'll turn around. So, defragging your hard drive on a regular basis. If you fly at least once a week, I would say you need to defrag your computer maybe every 3rd month. If you fly once a day, I would say you need to defrag your computer every month. And if you fly maybe once a fortnight or once a month, then to be honest, you could probably do every 6 months. But defragging your hard drive will really optimize your hard drive and let it run more efficiently, which means your flight sim is running more efficiently as well. Okay? Tip number 5 for maintenance, cleaning inside your PC. This is so overlooked by a lot of people. Actual getting your PC out, taking the case off, vacuuming the inside, dusting out, you know, taking off your CPU, cleaning, cooling fan, sorry, and cleaning the dust out from underneath it, gluing it back on with more coolant, really does optimize your, you know, power, and your you'll find your performance is boosted. Seriously, dusting out your PC can really improve your frames, can give you great performance. It is so overlooked by people who suddenly open up their PC to find, oh my gosh, I've got this old, rammy, dust-filled PC, and it's clogging up my, you know, my innards of my PC. Honestly, a PC is just like a heart. You've got to keep it clean of dust, like your heart needs to be clean of fat. Okay? Number 6, don't get the latest software. Okay? Now you might be going, well, hang on a second, what do you mean? Okay. Prepared upgraded to 4.5 recently, right? And there were glitches when it first initially did it, right? They still haven't actually sent out a hotfix for them glitches, but all the add-on people then updated their software to a beta version, right? Sort of like, this is what we're gonna, you know, this is how we're gonna update to 4.5 for P3D. Use it if you can, but we're gonna release a stable version once we've sorted out the bugs, or once, you know, Lockheed Martin have sorted out their bugs. You know, don't jump on the bandwagon with straight away getting the latest software. Just hold off for a bit, right? Just wait a little bit, right? Wait for the developers to fix all the bugs before jumping on and getting, oh hang on, we need some more speed here. Before getting on the bandwagon, get them to fix it first before you install it, and you'll find your sim runs a lot better. Now, one could argue, well, hang on a sec, if nobody gets the latest software, hang on a second, how is anybody going to find any bugs? Well, true, but, you know, there will always be somebody who will install the latest and greatest, okay? There is always somebody who wants that in their sim, okay? Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be you, right? I don't jump on the bandwagon and get the latest stuff all the time. I kind of wait first, not only for price to come down, but also for all the bugs to be cleaned out. You know, I don't want to put a software into my sim that's suddenly going to break the sim because it's still sort of in development. When software releases, it's not actually final. It's not actually finished, right? When developers release software, they are in the testing phase to see, will it work on people's machines? You know, whose machine will it conk out on, right? You know, I used to do game design, you know, and you have to do quality control for your game before you release it. And nowadays, what software developers tend to do is release it into either an alpha or a beta stage, right? And it's basically testing the software against users to make sure that when they do finally release it, and in the final release, that it runs smoothly. So a lot of software developers will actually get you to pay to get the beta version of the software. You know, like on the PS4, sign up for the beta, download and play the beta. Yeah, you've just now been included in their quality control assessment team without even realizing it. And any problems you find, any glitches you find, you know, obviously you're going to report, helping them to release a more final product. Don't jump on the bandwagon and get the beta, guys. Come on, wait till the final release. Wait till they put a fix out. I always wait at least a month before I get new software. Now, I have broken my own sort of mandate recently by not only updating in 4.5 like 2 days after they released the update, but I also got Rex Environment Force literally the day of its release. And I don't actually have remorse for getting Environment Force because it actually fixed the 4.5 update. So go figure. But on general, on sort of like, you know, with most things, I actually find getting the latest software release for any product doesn't actually bode well a lot of the time. Waiting, I get better results from. Right, we're going to try and land here. As we come into the final bit, the final top tip, right? Okay, network PC, okay? I have a separate PC for streaming. When I'm streaming live, I have my other PC that records the footage, leaving my flight sim PC to do all the heavy grunt work. I'm still trying to figure a way how I can put on the weather engine and everything else onto that other PC, networking the two PCs together completely, so that will free up my computer even more for you know, other things, which means these types of videos will be completely you know, flawless. But until I figure that out, we'll have to make do with what we've got. But networking a PC, even if it's a laptop, I used to run a laptop with FSX and network the weather engine off to the laptop. You know, all you need is the Ethernet cable to be connected, right? Seriously, that's it. If you use a laptop with your weather engine, laptops connect to the internet wirelessly, okay? But then the Ethernet port can get connected through your own PC. You know, it's a bit more difficult these days because you've really got to network your PC, but honestly, if you can figure it out, networking your PC, you're freeing up your flight sim PC. I don't even know what runway it is, you know. You're freeing up your PC for a lot more processing power that you can handle. God, we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna land it on this one, you know. I really don't. It's a bit of a tough one, this. But that's it, guys. That's the top tips for flight simulation. And if you're still with us, thank you so much for watching this as I come into the home stretch here. Those top tips, seriously, you follow them, you're going to have, oh gosh, we're going to crash it. Look at that, boom. We would have crashed that sucker, wouldn't we? That would have not been a happy landing, guys. Seriously. Yeah, if you follow these top tips, you are going to have a flawless flight experience. Trust me, if you've got errors in your flight sim, most likely it's because something was installed wrong, or it's a hardware component error, or it's a glitchy bit of software. It's usually down to the human interface rather than the PC itself. PCs are dumb. They only do what we tell them to do. Okay? Now, if you're still watching for this, in the next few days, I'm going to be doing a live 24-hour stream on YouTube, okay? We're going to be doing a mad flight from here to there. I haven't quite worked it out where I'm going yet, but it's going to be 24 hours continual on my YouTube channel. We're going to be doing flights, book reads. Honestly, you're going to have a whole lot of fun. I'm just going to nibble over to the airport here, cutting across all these runways. And it's going to be mad. It's happening sometime next week. The date's yet to be confirmed, but it will happen. I do hope you guys can join me. If you've got any questions about flight simulation, if you've got any questions about how, you know, to tweak this, how to tweak that. I've just crashed my plane. There we go. Oh dear. Oh well. There we go. Put the brakes on. Don't hesitate. Please don't hesitate to ask me. I'm here to help. Okay. Anybody needs any help for your flight sim, trust me, I will help you. Not a problem. Okay. There goes a plane, and that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. All these tips. I'm going to leave these tips in the description below as well, and a little write-up. And thanks for watching, and take care. I'll see you guys flying in the future. Bye-bye.